Joe Biden gave the traditional pre-Super Bowl interview to Norah O'Donnell. A couple of things. Take a look at this. Is this social distancing or what? This is more than social distancing. This is Emperor Joe Biden in the palace. Who social distances like that? Quite frankly, nobody, not even Joe Biden. Who remembers when he won the election? Let's take a look at that. When he celebrated with his family, when they flew in from all over the country, hugging and kissing. I understand the hugging and kissing, but that's pretty tight in these days of COVID. November 2020? Yeah, COVID was a thing back then. All right, back to the interview. Joe Biden has a lot on his plate, of course. COVID and these vaccines. Can he lean on the manufacturers to, get some more medication out there? Listen to the question, listen to the answer.
You're President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief. Can you do something in terms of going to Moderna, going to Pfizer, saying we need more production?
Yes, I think.
Yes, I think. You didn't get the I'm in charge kind of feeling. Now, whether you like Donald Trump or you didn't like Donald Trump, guess what? He was in charge, and he wouldn't be, I think I can call Moderna. I think I can call Pfizer. He was calling them up hundreds of times a day, pushing him to get that vaccine. And you know what? It really, really worked. Hey, real quick, about that social distancing, it was such a display. Emperor Joe Biden, what do they do for Donald Trump? Same network, 60 Minutes. That's pretty close, right? That's pretty intimate. And Leslie Stahl, senior correspondent over there at CBS, was anything if not the mask police, right? Going right up there. Anyway, this mask stuff is getting to me. I still wear a mask. We got to wear masks, but they're playing games with it, right? Right. So impeachment, I believe, begins tomorrow, or the trial. They already impeached President Trump. We know it's a joke. We know he's not responsible for what happened on Capitol Hill. He specifically said, march peacefully and patriotically. We all heard that, right? And by the way, if he really did break the law, they could charge him in D.C. court. They could, but he didn't, so they can't, all right? The thing is a joke. They've been lying about so much, including, by the way, that 5 people died on January 6th, 2021. It's not true. Only 1 person died on that day. You know who it was? The unarmed woman, Ashley Babbitt. Unarmed woman shot and killed by Capitol Police. We've heard very, very little about that case. And you know what? That bothers me. So a quick preview of some of the evidence we are going to see this week. First, let's start with some of what the Trump team will present, because figurative language, the president used it, and so do Democrats.
You're in the arena, you got to be ready to take a punch. You got to be ready to throw a punch.
That's my call to action here. Please don't just come here today and then go home. Go to the Hill today. Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
We'll also fight him and challenge him in every way that we can, in the Congress, in the courts, and in the streets and protest.
So some of those were specific calls to violence. And you know who else? Chuck Schumer, with his great big new job, huh? Chuck Schumer has done some of this.
Tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
I mean, what is he talking about there? It does not sound good. Both sides at times use pretty heated rhetoric. But I want to show you again, Donald Trump on January 6th did not say anything close to this stuff. He called for the opposite, peaceful stuff.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
I think it's an open and shut case. I think it's a silly affair, sad, not unifying. And Joe Biden really, look, I wasn't really counting on him, but he could have done a lot. If he called for Democrats to drop this bogus case, wow, that would have helped unify the country, right? Okay, but in a weird way, I'm kind of looking forward to this impeachment because this is straight down the middle. We all understand it. A riot, a speech. We saw what the Democrats did. This is not like a year ago, the phone call with the Ukrainian president, trying to follow that with all those crazy names, Shokan, Poroshenko. I got very confused during some of that, I will admit. And we never really heard the phone call. We got the transcript, and then they're talking about stuff. It got complicated. This is different. This is very easy, and it should be interesting. All right, folks, one thing I want to point out, and it's worth reading. Time magazine, yeah, the fake news, did something interesting. Some call it a confession, a wild profile of what Democrats and the left did to engineer their victory in November. They got working on it very early. Some say they're bragging about all the unfair stuff they did. There are a couple of quotes in the piece. Now, the piece is, they're pro-Democrat, but it's interesting. Let's go through it. A couple of interesting quotes. You tell me. America's decentralized election system could not be rigged in one fell swoop. That presented an opportunity to shore it up. And then they go through the details. It's almost like they were rigging it themselves. It's a fascinating piece. Go on, please. They needed to pay for postcards letting people know they could vote absentee or in some states to mail ballots to every voter. By the way, did you know that was happening? Mail ballots to every voter. That's not how you conduct elections, by the way. Jimmy Carter warned us about this. Couple more. In March, activists appealed to Congress to steer COVID relief money to election administration. Did you know that was happening? Well, you know what? Government didn't actually come up with enough money. I thought that COVID relief should have been for COVID relief. But who stepped in? Facebook. Take a look at this. I knew they were doing this, but to see it all summarized in one place, private philanthropy stepped into the breach. An assortment of foundations contributed tens of millions in election administration funding. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative chipped in $300 million. That is a huge amount of money, of course. And we know that Zuckerberg was pulling for Democrats. Facebook clearly was doing that. All right, one more, please. Do we have? In the end, nearly half the electorate cast ballots by mail in 2020. Practically a revolution in how people vote. A revolution. About a quarter voted early in person. Only a quarter of voters cast their ballots in the traditional way. I don't know. I don't think we've heard the last of what the heck happened on November 3rd and in the run-up